They were born more than 40 years apart, two men from different times, but they were cut from the same cloth. One learned the blues the way it was meant to be learned, in smoke-filled rooms, dusty back roads, and clubs where the floorboards shook under the weight of the truth. The other, he caught the fire young as well, chasing this blues sound like a calling. The older chap lived through many eras of the blues, from Chitlin circuits to Grammy wins and Grammy nights, while the other carried the torch into a new century, bringing new energy to an old soul. But really what they share is older than time. For both of them, the blues isn't just a genre. It's really a lifelong education, a sacred language, a way to say something that can't be said in any other way. Maybe their paths were always destined to cross. And they finally did. There's a new album where young and old are together again. It's Bobby Rush and Kenny Wayne Shepard. We talk to both on Rock History Music. Bobby Rush was born Emmett Ellis Jr. on November 10th, 1933 in Homer, Louisiana. He's a legendary American blues musician, renowned for his dynamic performances and innovative fusion of blues, soul, funk, and rap. His father, a pastor who played guitar and harmonica, really influenced his early musical development. As a child, Rush crafted his first instrument, a diddley bow, from broom wire and nails, sparking a lifelong passion for music. In 1947, his family relocated to Pine Bluff, Arkansas, where he began performing in local juke joints, often disguising himself with a fake mustache to appear older. There he formed a connection with blues legends like Elmore James and Johnny Big Moose Walker. By the 1950s, Rush moved to Chicago, immersing himself in the vibrant blues scene and collaborating with icons like Muddy Waters, Howlin' Wolf, and Little Walter. Rush's breakthrough came in 1971 with the hit single Chicken Heads. It reached number 34 on the Billboard R&B charts and became his first gold record. Throughout his career, he released numerous albums including Rush Hour in '79, Porcupine Meat in 2016, which won a Grammy for Best Traditional Blues Album, and All My Love for You in 2024 earned him a third Grammy Award. Known as the king of the Chitlin circuit, Rush's high-energy shows often feature humorous, risque lyrics and engaging stage antics. Beyond his musical achievements, Bobby Rush has been a cultural ambassador for the blues, becoming the first blues artist to perform at the Great Wall of China in 2007. In 2021, he published his autobiography, I Ain't Studdin' You, My American Blues Story, offering an intimate look into his life and enduring career. He was a kid from Shreveport, Louisiana, barely old enough to ride a bike, but when he picked up a guitar, he never looked back. And we're talking about a 7-year-old. By the time he was a teenager, Kenny Wayne Shepard wasn't just playing the blues, he was reviving it for a whole new generation. Here was a kid who was self-taught. Born in 1977, Shepard was the son of a radio personality and promoter. In his preteens, he was mimicking Stevie Ray Vaughan licks by ear. But it wasn't just mimicry. Folks were saying this kid was on fire. By 13, he was invited on stage by Brian Lee, a legendary New Orleans bluesman, and jaws dropped. Kenny wasn't just a prodigy, he was turning out to be a phenomenon. In 1995, barely 18, he released Ledbetter Heights, and it exploded, hitting number 1 on the Billboard Blues charts and going platinum. Tracks like Deja Voodoo and Born with a Broken Heart, Kenny captured the soul of the blues with the energy of rock. Then came Trouble Is in 1997, featuring Blue on Black, a crossover hit that ruled rock radio and cemented his status as more than just a blues revivalist. He was a chart topper, or tour headliner, and a guitar god in the making. But fame came with its own weight. There were questions. Could a white kid from Louisiana truly carry the torch of the blues? Well, Kenny answered with his playing. Every note was a shout, a prayer, a history lesson in 6 strings. Throughout the 2000s and beyond, he doubled down. The Kenny Wayne Shepard Band kept recording, and live shows became legendary. Albums like A Place You're In, Lay It On Down proved that he wasn't just stuck in the past, he was bringing the blues forward. There was also 10 Days Out, Blues from the Backroads, a CD and DVD documentary. It chronicled the 10-day venture of Shepard meeting blues pioneers with the intent of spotlighting the veterans and, of course, the genre. Kenny Wayne Shepard remains a torchbearer of modern blues. The kid prodigy didn't just grow up, he grew into one of the genre's fiercest, most faithful warriors. Though separated by 44 years in age, Bobby Rush and Kenny Wayne Shepard came together at the legendary Royal Studios in Memphis. Their new album, Young Fashioned Ways, a 10-track project that fuses Shepard's searing guitar work and Rush's soulful vocals, gritty rhythm guitar, and signature harmonica. Tell me how far back do you go with Bobby?
I can't pinpoint the first time that we met. I know our paths have crossed several times over the years. I mean, it's inevitable especially in the blues world, that you're going to your paths are going to cross with just about everybody. But I can't pinpoint the exact time like that we first met each other. But I do know that I remember watching him on the legendary Rhythm and Blues Cruise several years ago and watching his whole set and watching him perform. And, like the guy is just incredible. And especially now that I didn't even know how old he was then, but regardless of his age, he was incredible. But now knowing he's like 92 years old and we had him come out and do my blues festival a few years ago. That's where this whole thing started. So he came out to be a special guest to sit in with my band for a few songs at the Backroads Blues Festival, which is my blues festival. And so that's the first time we performed together. And he jumped up on stage and he just took over like in the best way possible. The audience just fell in love with him. He jumped up and kicked his leg up in the air, and I was waiting for him to drop down into the splits. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, this guy's incredible. And he's like, at that time he was 90 years old and just unbelievable. And so we had some real chemistry that I think we both realized in that moment. We had some chemistry together, playing together. And so after that, we went off stage and I said, man, we ought to do a record together. And he was like, man, I was thinking the same thing. And so that was the beginning of this. And it took about 6 months. That was in June. And we got in the studio in December. And, that was when we both had an opening in our schedule. And then that was probably 2023, I think. And it's taken this long to get the record out because he's a very busy man. I mean, he works a lot. He performs a lot. And so do I. And so we had to wait until we had the opportunity to release the record where our schedules could sync up and we could do press and we could do some shows. And so now's the time.
How do you feel about being 91?
Man, I'm still learning. I'm still enthused. I still have hope. And if I keep hope alive, then I'm alive. Very good, man. I give your mom a big hug for me because it takes a lot of blessing to get this point in our life. We get this old. A lot of blessing.
The new album, very exciting. Kenny Wayne Shepard, no slouch himself.
He's so good and so young. Yeah, this is one of the greatest things that happened to me in a long time because I never thought that he would understand the old tradition of a bluesman like myself. But then when I got into him in the studio, I know he could always play well and play good, but I didn't know he understood the root of me like he did. Not only just me, a lot of the Muddy Water, the Howlin' Wolf, and on and on and on. He's just a blues lover, and he respects the blues. And this was the best thing. When we went in the studio, we didn't plan this other than the song itself. We were gonna do one or two songs. Sit down with my guitar and his guitar. We were gonna collaborate and make it the best we could make it. No rehearsal, nothing. Just went in the studio. It came out so good. I said, let's do another one. It came out so good. Let's do another one. And we wound up going about 13 or 14 songs before we stopped there. Come on. Took us a couple of days and lined it out. And then what we planned to do, solo acoustic, that's the guitar and the harmonica and myself and him. Then we decided that, oh man, this is too good. We got to put something with this. Then we got the Al Green trio come in. Oh God, these them Hodges. And now we started expanded to something else that we didn't even think about what was going to do. And I got to tell you, because it's funny. I had this song from Who Was That While Ago? A while ago I was worried about he's going to understand this being a young man from Louisiana. While ago is like is a slang word, you know, a minute ago, yesterday, or whatever, while ago. And when I said, I got this song, Kenny, who was that while ago? He just bust out leg. I said to myself, oh, I got something here. You know, who was that while ago? Anyway, from that, it's what it started to be is one thing. When I wind up with is another thing. I was gonna do just a 3 or 4 songs, acoustic that he and I sat down traditionally, but it led into something else. Then on top of that, then his father-in-law, who's a movie director, said, I'd like to have this song into the movie. What's the name of the movie? And he didn't tell us at that moment. He made a deal. He liked the record so well, he put it in the movie, you know. Flight Risk. Out now, it's a big, big movie. Oh, hey, I don't know. I just can't find words to tell you how happy I am, how blessed I am. Now on top of that, here I'm talking to you. This the Bobby Rush day.
What are the shows going to look like with Bobby?
We're going to rehearse. I'm trying to figure it out. Like some things, we're we're going to be doing some festival dates, so we have a little shorter time in those. So in that situation, it might be that Kenny Wayne Shepard Band kicks off the show, and we bring Bobby up at some point through the show and do a portion of music with him, and then finish the show with the Kenny Wayne Shepard Band. But on the evening with Bobby Rush and Kenny Wayne Shepard Band, I'm envisioning, we have to see if it still works, but I'm envisioning he and I walking out on stage, starting the show, like almost like our own little set, stripped down, acoustic blues, really intimate, and do, however many songs we can that's appropriate from that record together. And then maybe we have a quick little intermission, a set change. And then the Kenny Wayne Shepard Band comes out and we do the Kenny Wayne Shepard Band show, and maybe bring Bobby up for the finale at the end of the show.
How far back do you and Kenny go?
Go way back enough. Well, I knew him from when he was just a teenager playing guitar, but I never thought about joining the records with him. Then I got into his father. His father knew my auntie, but he didn't know that my auntie, my dad, baby sister, know his father and his grandfather from Louisiana. And we found out that we was only 20-something miles apart from where we lived as children, where I lived as a kid. Then we got into a conversation about being from Louisiana. That was all well. Never thought about recording. Yeah. And I said, well, I like the way you play. So he said, I got a couple of gigs I want to bring Bobby Rush out on. I said, okay, that's fine. After I went to his sound check, I was intrigued by what I heard and the in-depth he had about the blues. I said, well, maybe I could record something like this. And I went to him, I said, yeah, what you think about recording something together? He said, man, I've been thinking about that. And he said, why you think I wanted you on this trip with me? He was thinking about recording me. I'm thinking about, but we never said anything to each other about that we wanted to do this together. And when he said it, it struck a bell. When I said it, struck a bell with him. And it was on. It is on.
When you decided as a young man, you said you wanted to go to Chicago. You didn't have the money in the beginning. Who was that younger version of Bobby Rush, that young guy that eventually got to Chicago? What would you tell him?
I left my little hometown, Louisiana, in 1947. Went to Pine Bluff, Arkansas with my father, who was a preacher and a pastor of a church. I had met Elmo James, Muddy Waters, and Howler Wolf back in 1949 or 50. And I wanted to go to Chicago, but I didn't have enough money to buy a ticket to Chicago. It cost $8.75. But I had enough money to buy a ticket from Pine Bluff to Memphis, which was $3 and some change, where B.B. King and Sonny Boy Williamson were working on Beale Street. So what I did, I got enough money to work. I was working for $3.50 a week. That's what my pay was, $3.50 a week. I worked in Beale Street long enough to get enough money to go where Albert King was in Lovejoy, Illinois. Chuck Berry was in St. Louis. I got enough money to go to East St. Louis. I worked on the street for tips, playing my guitar, tap dancing, doing the handball, whatever it took. I made $3 or $4 a week, enough to get a ticket to go to Chicago, where Muddy Waters, Howlin' Wolf, B.B. King, John Lee Hooker, Jimmy Reed, Smoker Hall, and on was in Chicago, especially Little Walter. Then I wanted to record. I said to myself, I'm in heaven now. And as a young man, I wanted to get with Chess Record, which was Leonard and Phil with two brothers who owned the company. So J.B. Lenore said, Bobby Rush, I'm going to get you in the door. Muddy Waters said, yeah, that'd be good. So I went down. That was Muddy Waters, Johnny Hooker, myself, Jimmy Reed, Smoker Hall, Little Walter, Willie Dixon, all sitting around this table waiting on Leonard and Phil to come in. Phil was already there, but Leonard hadn't made anything yet. So while we was waiting, there was a pamphlet on the table that said 10 and 208 with Journey, Musician Union. And I said to the guy, I said, this is going to be good for all us colored men here at the table. We're going to get recognized and represented by the union as well as the white guy. So Bo did a laugh. By that time, Leonard walked out. He said, what you guys laughing at? Bo Dillon said, Bobby Ray said, the union emerged. By that time, the other brother walked out. I said, what you guys laughing about? Bobby Ray, the union emerged. So Leonard said, where did you get that information from? He said, off your desk. He threw it back at me. So read that, boy, talking to me. And I read it. He turned around and told his brother, they used the N-word. So we can't use that N-word because he can read. And I never got the job at Czech Records. Leonard, Muddy Waters, Howlin' Wolf, all the guys, including Little Walter and many others. But I didn't get the job because I could read it. So I was devastated there. So I went to suburb of Chicago, Blue Island, to get a job. Muddy Waters said, I know a man would hire you, Bob. But they know that I'm speaking out as a black man now. Don't worry about it. I know a man who would hire you. So he sent me to this man that he knew in Blue Island, which was no black people that I know at the time, was in this small suburb town. The club that he had me for $7.50 a night, me and the band. But I had to work behind a curtain every night where they wanted to hear my music, not see my face. And I was devastated, man. I didn't know what to do then. Left the southern state, called myself coming to a state with Illinois that will recognize a man and a black man like myself, so I'd be free to do some things I couldn't do in the South. But I was at a brick wall. Now I'm in Illinois and had to work behind a curtain where they wanted to hear my music, not see nothing. But then I went down on Bourbon Street, and Caesar Capone hired me, who's Al Capone's brother. And he's the one that embraced me and made some way for me. I'm saying that to you because now I did not know that it's going to lead me to Kenny Wayne Shepard. How this road from Louisiana to Arkansas to Chicago got turned down because I could read or write. Now I meet a young man who accept me for who I am and record this record with me. And I tell you now that this is going to be good because we're going to make a statement to the world that we can do this, black, white, or whatever. Because the music is a link and a chain to love, and love is music, regardless of the color. Here I am. I'm in heaven with this thing. It's the best thing that ever happened.
Remember, if you want to support the channel, there are links in the description. You can make a PayPal donation to help our channel grow. Join our Patreon. You'll get early access to all our videos. There's a ton of stuff on there right now that has not seen the light of day on YouTube yet. And we have a swag store where you can buy a Rock History Music t-shirt, a cap, a jacket, and a whole bunch of stuff. Remember, subscribe to our channel, share our videos, comment on them, and like them. Makes a really big difference. Click that bell notification so you don't miss anything. I'm John Bowden. This is Rock History Music. More from Bobby Rush and Kenny Wayne Shepard coming up.